Hey, Nick Collier here, and today we're going to drill out some holes for the hydraulic lines, and we'll be doing that. We set that up yesterday. So, but you know, I want to talk about rubber gloves. I started wearing them just late. You know, I'm kind of a tough guy, and rubber gloves just doesn't really work for my persona, you might say. But what's happened lately is I work all day in this oil, and at the end of the day, I noticed that my hands are tingling and stinging a bit, and it goes on day after day. And the days that I don't work up here, that my wife drags me away to go have some fun or something, my hands don't sting. So I decided, okay, we're going to give this experiment and see how it feels. As I said, it's not real comfortable, but the other side of it is my hands don't sting anymore. So put the rubber gloves on. Unless one of you out there knows about some kind of oil that I can use that is not going to affect my skin, hey, rubber gloves it is. So let's get rolling on this little project. We're going to readjust you here. And I've already drilled one hole. Bring it in a little closer. How about that? And we're going to set up the next side drill bit. I drilled it with, you know, what about a number 7 drill bit. We'll come in with a 3/8, somewhere in that general range. I think we're going to have to go up to at least 3/4, if not 1 inch. All right, we got to bring her down a bit. All right. Crank away. Let's slow it down just a little bit. This is going to be the easy part of that whole process. The laying out was fairly complicated. All right, now let's take it to the next step. Now we're down so low, I'm not sure you can see it. Yeah, you're still good. All right, we're going to take things down to a little slower pace. That's going to work. Just a little bit bigger. We need to be able to get that nut to, or the nut part to drop down in there. So what have we got here? We've got 25-30 seconds. There we go. That'll get that to drop down in so we can get a wrench on it and turn it. And there's plenty of room. Now that should work out just fine. So let's index over to this next one and work on that. Okay, we're going to take it in at an angle here. We already went in with our little pilot drill. So now we're going to take it up a notch. All right, one last hole, and instead of flipping this head around, I think what I'll do is just turn this around and readjust to that center punch. Let's give it a try here. On the money. Tighten up all our gibs and then check it again. Make sure we haven't changed. A little bit. It looks pretty good. All right, so we've run into a little snag here. It's not a huge one, but it is one that's an effort. And that is that when this bolt goes through this block, I'll pull that block over so you can see it. The bolt goes through the block and screws into the ram. Well, unfortunately, the ram makers put a nice thread in there, but they didn't put any way to hold on to the ram to tighten the bolt. So I'm going to have to take this ram and go in and make myself a flat someplace at the very top of this, and then come in and reduce the, let me just draw it here, and you can see that, and pretty much reduce the material here so I can get a wrench in there. And then, you know, I was worried about if I made a flat in here, just kind of like this nut here, then when it went back into the ram, it would go past the seal and create a problem. But all I have to do is reduce this, and then this part right here will act as a stop, and it won't allow the ram to go any further in than whatever we have here. So then that means that the little nut part, or the part that I'm going to put a wrench onto, will stay stationary. Put a wrench on that, put a wrench on this side, tighten everything up real good and snug, and we're set to go. Of course, we got to take the ram apart, and we've got to put it on the mill, and we've got to create a set of flats on either side of that shaft. So we will be doing that, and at the same time, I don't know if you can see in there, maybe we can pull in a little closer. Come on. There we go. And drop down just a tad. There we go. And get a flashlight and look inside of there, and you will see that, you know, as much measuring as I did, my hole came out just a little bit high you know, actually a little bit low, and it tends to, it's narrow on this side and wide on this side by, oh, I don't know, what are we looking at? 1/16th? Not much more than that, maybe an 1/8. So that is a problem, because when these go in, they need to be centered. So what I'm going to do is, when I take the ram apart, I'm going to make an 1/8 inch washer to go inside of the ram up against that shoulder that's on the inside of this block of steel, and that'll bring the ram down just a little bit, and that should answer that problem. We're at the fiddly-farty sort of little problems that we have to deal with to get this thing complete, and I'm sure I'm going to be at this the rest of the week, but you know, it's part of the process. Okay, we've spent the last hour setting this ram up so we can take and build a flat there and build a flat on the bottom. But now that it's set up, we can put the second one in place in about 5 minutes. So we're going to start this thing up and build ourselves a flat. And why don't you hang in there with me, and let's have some fun at this point. Okay, so what we've got here is we need to put that little spacer, and it's 100 thousandths thick, inside of the main body, so that the rams push up against it and create just that 100 thousandth space between the ram and the body, so that the plumbing holes will match up. So we're going to go ahead and continue to trim this down, and we need to go to where do we need to go? Well, we need to take almost 3/8 off of this in order to get down to something we can use. So, but I think I'm going to come a little further in before I go anywhere there. Okay, so we've got ourselves down to size. I did it a little undersize, which it's not that big a deal, so it doesn't really matter. So now I'm just going to take this last 1/2 inch or so off, because everything else is going away. So let's just square up the last 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's going to be just fine. Now we need to come in and find out what our inside measurement is. And we've got, what, 3/400. So that's fairly easy to find. Let's come in with a nice sharp bit with a good heavy point on it. Of course, it looks like we might need to sharpen that bit a little bit. Let's I'll take it over and throw a quick sharpening on it. Yeah, we'll be back in a second. Okay, normally I would go ahead and drill the center out and mess around and get myself opened up underneath here. And if it was steel, I would certainly do that. But we're talking aluminum here. Much softer material, much easier to deal with. We're going to just try just trimming stuff out and working our way in. Okay, so we got our little aluminum rings done. Now I just need to kind of clean up the inside edge that the cutoff tool wasn't able to get. All right, that looks pretty good. No sharp edges. That goes on just like that. Perfect. This is going to go in there like that. And we're going to do the other one. What happened to the other one? There it is. Nice. A little bit of sharp edge on the inside here. Nice. Okay. That looks good. That one goes there. Now, put this back with our little ring on there. Everything looks good inside. Perfect. So now our fittings, of course that's not our fitting, but it's just to fill in. Our fittings are going to go in here just right. Well, we need to get an extension for that. So that's not going to be a problem though. We won't worry about it. So let's get the other ram and put that in here. And then tomorrow, actually we'll probably do that tomorrow. Tomorrow what I'm going to do is come in here. This is this direction. Let's go ahead and get a block of wood under there so we kind of get generally an idea of what we're doing. And I cut that flat, so now I'm going to rotate this around to the inside edge, take my measurement and cut a, let's see, I'm going to cut it from this direction out. I already showed you that earlier with this side. And we're just going to cut out whatever the distance is here. It looks like about a little over a 1/4 inch. We're going to take that amount of material out of this part here. And then the ram will slide in there, and this will index into that edge right there. And then we can put our nut on and go from there. So we're going to come back in the morning and we'll see you later. Okay, so in order to make the little knots that I put in the rams fit, we're going to have to slide in behind here and take out this a wedge out of the top of this second platform. Okay, well, the downside of this entire part of this project is everything has to be adjusted. And so we're over there on the Bridgeport adjusting the top plate or the counter plate. And then now, because I had this nice little, I made these nice little washers that go in here, it turns out that since we adjusted the top plate by about 3/8 of an inch, the bolt is now too long. So we've got to come in and build a washer that's 3/8 of an inch wide, and gives us a little stability. And also because I can't cut any more threads off, that's just like the threads are minimum. So we just build ourselves a washer and go from there. So we're going to be doing that. Okay, so we've got our piece milled and we've created a slot to put a wrench on. And so when this thing bottoms out, it bottoms out onto, can you see that? Yeah, you can see it. It bottoms out onto the nut itself and doesn't allow this indent to get down into the seals. So, so it just, you know, what, 3/8 of an inch bangs up against that, and we can still get a wrench in there and hold it while we tighten the nuts. Now also, as I said earlier, I had to make a larger nut, so, or I mean a larger washer, so I made a couple of you know, spacer washers basically, and they worked out really well. So I think we're getting closer. It's a slow process, but we're getting there.